Hello everyone, it is Brandon from the Fly Shop, and if you're watching this, you've recently purchased one of our interior stillwater fly tying starter kits. So congratulations on that and welcome to fly tying. Yes, it can be a little intimidating to start, but hopefully the kit as well as these videos will make it a little easier for you. So in this series, you're going to have 6 videos covering half of the bugs you're able to tie with the kit. You'll learn all the skills needed in these 6 videos to not only tie the remaining 6 bugs in the kit, but to also tie all kinds of stillwater bugs as you move forward in your tying progression. If you feel confident after tying these 12, head over to the Fly Guys channel. I have tons of videos that have been put up over there, and you can have all kinds of patterns to help you succeed out on the water. So without further ado, let's head over to the vise and let's spin up some bugs. Okay, let's tie the vampire leech, or the UV black straggle leech, however you want to call it. It's a wicked pattern and it catches a lot of fish. So I've got the Daiichi hook in the vise with the chartreuse bead. You would have received that in your package. And I've got the black thread spooled up on my bobbin. And to get started with any fly, basically you're just going to take the thread, push it down. I've got the tag end in one hand and the bobbin in my other hand. I'm just going to push against the shank and then begin to wrap just like so, and I'll take that tag and pull it out to the side, and then I'm just going to do thread wraps basically till my barb, or till my thread is hanging right where the barb is, and then we can trim out our tag, and then we'll bring our thread back up to behind the bead. And what that does is, as we tie in our materials, it'll kind of stop things from moving around the shank too much. Shank can be slippery. So now I've got a marabou feather here, and I'm going to peel the fibers off the side of the feather. So this is what the feather looks like before I do that, and then as I peel these fibers off, you can see I've just taken them right off the stem there, and then I'll gather them up. So I've got them in a nice clump like so, and then from there I'm just going to switch hands, come in with my scissors and trim those flush. And now I'm going to hang on to these, and then when you're tying in materials, if you spin your bobbin counterclockwise, so I'm just letting that spin. What that does is when I lift my thread, it's going to want to jump over to the left, which makes it really easy to capture that marabou, and I can just pull down and away I go. Now you can do what's called a pinch wrap. That's where you bring your thread up, pinch it in between your fingers, and then pull down. But to make it easier, just spin your bobbin and then it'll jump in whatever direction you spin it. So if you spin it counterclockwise, it'll jump to your left, and if you spin it clockwise, it'll jump to your right. So I'm going to get that tail tied in right down to where that barb is, and I'm using that barb so I keep my patterns consistent. So I'll have a similar size body for all my leeches. So before I finish here, I'm just going to lift up and come underneath that tail a couple times, and then back over the top. And that's going to help to prop that tail up a little bit. From there, I'll just pinch this to length. So shooting for a little longer or about the same size as your body for your tail. So again, if you keep them the same size or just a little bit longer than your body, then you'll keep nice consistent sizing to your patterns. Now we're going to grab a piece of the UV straggle. So I've just cut off a single piece here, and same thing as before, I'm going to grab just the end of this, give this a spin, and tie this in right at the very back. So I'll grab that with a couple good tight wraps, and then trap it down, And then I can bring my thread forward once again, keeping everything nice and smooth until I'm behind the bead. And now we've got our tail tied in and we're ready to wrap our body. From here, I'm just going to wrap this up the shank, just putting each wrap side by side, basically just covering up my black thread. So we're going to wrap this up to behind the bead, and then once we get behind the bead, we'll hold that up, bring our thread over top and down, so we've captured it, and then I'm going to take 2 or 3 wraps over top, pull that back, and put 2 or 3 wraps in front. So that sandwiches everything in there and locks it into place. We can come in with our scissors, trim out our excess, and then from there, this is starting to look pretty good. Now all we have to do is whip finish. So I'm going to grab my whip finish tool and come in, throw in 2 or 3 turns, and then that gets locked in. I'll put 1 more in for good measure. And if you'd like to, take some super glue and just put it right onto your thread, wrap it a couple times, and then whip finish on top of that, and that'll really lock things in. But a couple of whip finishes, now I can come in, trim out my thread, and that's all there is to that UV Straggle Leech. It's a very easy pattern, good one to start with, but if you ask any fly fisherman, they will tell you that this thing catches a lot of fish, and it certainly does. So that's how to tie the UV Straggle Leech in black. You can tie this with the kit in olive as well, and with the olive I would use the same chartreuse bead. But yeah, that's all there is to that one. Appreciate you guys checking it out. I hope this video helps, and we will see you on the next video.